Hello, everyone, and welcome back to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Come to you, as always, from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful eyes of the Galactic Empire. My name is John Wachtali, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Garrett Jones. Garrett, how are you today?
What up, party people? How you guys doing?
Awesome. Well, we are back from our holiday break, and I know it's only been like what has it been 2 weeks or 3 weeks since our last.
I don't know. At this point, it's all been running together as one big blur.
I know. It probably seems a lot longer than it has been, and I have been chomping at the bit to talk some Star Wars, and mainly to talk Bad Batch season 2, episodes 1 and 2 finally dropped. And I like them. I really like them.
It was an interesting start because like the first season started off with kind of a bang, and this one it almost feels like they're doing that slow build, kind of like what we saw in Andor, but not as slowly paced. Because
to me, and one thing I want to do is go over like what we liked. I don't want to say ups and downs because there's another channel that does ups and downs, so I don't want to get in. But kind of go through, talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. Because there's a few things that I won't say not that I didn't like it, but there's a few things that I'm just kind of like, But we will get to that later. I thought this is just a good reintroduction to the characters.
I did too.
That's what this episode was. It was like. And it didn't hit you over the head. You had characters that came in like the new lady that's going to be, looks like she's going to be kind of working with them and giving them missions from now on. She kind of acted as that, saying like, oh yeah, these are rogue clones that are on the run for the Empire, and that's really all the background you needed, because you should have already seen season 1. But that was just kind of a refresh to say like, okay, these are rogue clones or defective clones, and they're on the run for the Empire. It was a good heist show too. Like, it was very much a heist. Them trying to steal, which again, as you said, reminiscent of Andor. That first part of the first half of that series, where they're doing the heist, is very reminiscent of that.
One of the things I liked about it is we get nods to ships that we've seen in other parts of the franchise. I mean, those cargo haulers. The only other thing I've seen them in was Rebels, and so we've got that in use. But we're also, the other thing I like about it is that we finally get one of our first real shots of Sereno as Dooku's homeworld. Yes. And the fact that, like, I mean, he was a count. He was nobility. He had some level of leadership amongst his own people, aside from being a former Jedi and a separatist leader.
And they hinted at that. And they hinted at that. And one thing I think people always forget is, I think people always assume that he went straight from being a Jedi to a Sith, and that he left the Jedi to become a Sith. But no, he left the Jedi because his brother had died, and he needed to take the responsibility of taking over the planet. So that's why that was part of the reason why he stepped away from the Jedi, was he needed to take the he took the role as leader of Sereno, as the Count of Sereno. But still, it was really cool to see that, and to see that first shot when they look over the crest of the cliff, and they're looking down at what's left of the city, and Omega asks what happened, and or
that
bombardment. There's nothing left.
One of the things I really liked about episode 1 for this new season is the Mandalorian helmet sitting in Sid's office. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
I saw it.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, it's a Mando helmet! Yay!
Yes. Yeah.
As if it's like Dave Filoni's little reminder of, hey, don't forget, in 2 months we've got Mando season 3 coming out.
which we will be reviewing, of course.
Yes, we will.
I also like I'm digging older Omega. Yeah, I'm digging more. You know, a little bit more mature. The hair's growing out a little bit, and she's doing more. She's definitely more. You can tell she's been training. It seems like she's a little bit more physical, able to keep up with them a little bit more. But still got that. She's still a kid. You can tell she's still got that. She's in that tween period right now.
So. Yeah, and the other thing I like about it is the fact that they're giving her more to do. She's no longer just going to be that damsel in distress type character. She's not just getting she's not just getting into trouble like she was in the first season, where at this point she's had some training, she's had some experience. The batch is putting her through studies so that she knows what.
Yeah, which I like that. I like showing her with the pad, studying the different types of having to memorize different types of ships and go through and do everything like that. Now, the one thing, and I'll get to my only thing that I had any issue with whatsoever, and that was the kind of the side story they had with her and Echo, and the idea of her overhearing that conversation of that, and her feeling like, oh, I'm just bringing the team down. I'm a liability to the team. My thought was like, didn't we already solve this in last season? Didn't we already go through this whole thing last season? Like, that shouldn't be an issue. That this is a family, that they love you, that that yes, you might technically be the reason they're on the run, but that this whole family would do anything for you and would do it all over again. And he even said, he's like, stating, taking her off Kamino was the right idea, but we have to do more than just that. Yeah. So that was the only thing that I thought kind of took me out of it, was just this like, okay, we've been through this before. This should not be an issue for Omega.
It really felt like it was put in there to manufacture some drama that was really unnecessary. I mean, at no point does she ever need to really prove herself to the team. I mean, she's already proven to have some level of strategy going on inside of her head. She was, she's nimble. She's a bit of a little warrior, and I think that's fine. We don't need to have that manufactured drama going into play there. It felt really, really unnecessary for them to incorporate that. But I'm hoping that now that that's out of the way, we can, the future episodes will not have that be such a fixed issue. We won't have to come back to it.
Yeah. Now, who do you think was who would you say like the standout character for these two episodes were?
For the first episode, there wasn't really a standout character there, but there was two for me with regards to episode 2. And the first one was the survivor character played by Hector Elizondo. I really like him I like Hector Elizondo and just in general. He's good at playing either really wacky old guys, or he's good at playing the sage old guy, or he's just good at he can play a good villain too. I mean, he's done a lot of different work as an actor, and so the fact that that they included him for this episode was great. The other one is Rear Admiral, the Rear Admiral, and I can't remember his name. I'm blanking on it, but the fact that he is so worried about Tarkin, finding out what's going on, and the fact that Clone Force 99 is still available or still alive. I think that's interesting that he goes out of his way to kill a clone trooper, a clone commander, by the way, just to hide what's going on.
Yeah. For me, I really like that they gave Tech a little bit more of a personality. They actually showed what Tech can do. Like they showed, I think there's a couple times where they really showed just how smart Tech was. The fact that he was able to tell when the one of the crates lands on him and breaks his hip, he's able to tell exactly immediately how much force was put on there, what was broken, and just like, okay, this guy is smart.
Yes.
I thought, and him being, dealing with the fact that, for a while there, he's, he can't really do anything. He can't, he's kind of, put up. And I like the interplay between him and the survivor character. When they're in the shed, and he pulls out the cylinder with all the information about his people that they'd saved there. And, he has to realize that, he makes the thing like, oh, it's a separatist archive. And he goes, no, it's a Sereno archive. We were a people before the war. And he has to kind of come through this thing of like, oh yeah, that's right. You were, there was a planet here before. There was a culture here before.
And I really appreciated that. I mean, that's one of those things that you don't think about in a lot of war stories, is that the culture that has been impacted, even if it's considered enemy territory, they existed prior to the war, and there may be people living there who are not sympathizers on either side.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, what else do we?
One of the things I didn't care for was like the character that was brought in to provide the mission for the batch. The fact that the voice actor was Wanda Sykes, I'm not a fan of her. And so as soon as I heard her voice, like, it immediately took me out of that suspension of disbelief. And I'm like, oh gosh, they brought in Wanda Sykes, and it just, like, there's something about her voice that's just really grating. I don't care for it. And it just can't, I don't know. It's just one of those casting choices that I'm like, okay, they did this. Hopefully we don't hear from this character a whole lot. But I that's probably one of my biggest problems I have with that, aside from the manufactured drama with Omega. But I will say this: the opening scene of episode 1 I thought was really fantastic. Just the color scheme of that island, whatever planet they're on. The first thing that popped in my head is, oh my gosh, is this Scarif? Because it looked very similar to Scarif. The sandbars, the tropical beaches, the crystal clear water. That's the first thing that popped in my head. I'm like, this place is gorgeous. What are they doing here?
You know what I thought? Raiders of the Lost Ark, where Indy is running in the jungle. I think it's Raiders. There's a scene, one of the Indy movies, where he's running into the jungle and he's got the natives. I just, that just popped in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, that was Indiana Jones. That was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
He's running in the jungle, being chased by the natives.
Yes,
with the plane waiting for them to take.
And just the same, because the pilot in Raiders of the Lost Ark was fishing when Indy comes running out of the jungle. And what is Omega doing? She's fishing.
Yeah.
And she's worried about reeling in the catch, and it turns out it's just one of those big crab things anyway.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for anyone listening to this who hasn't watched episode 1. They're on this planet that vaguely reminds us of Scarif from Rogue
by the
One.
way, spoiler alerts.
Yeah. But there's these, I don't know if they were sentient creatures or what, but there are these crab things. And it's kind of hard to say. Like, they responded like they were just animals, but they could have also easily have been sentient creatures. Who knows? I mean, it's Star Wars. Anything could be a sentient creature at this point.
We've had sentient spiders before who are like admirals.
Yes, we have. I would not want to be serving on that ship because that would nope. No.
Well,
I would have expected to be
droids.
That guy, he's a spider.
Yeah.
So. No, I'm liking what we're seeing so far. The animation is a little like you can see that there's a little bit of an upgrade in the details of the animation, but it still has that same high quality that we've come to expect from first season, from Clone Wars, and I mean, Dave Filoni is like, again, it's his writing, his producing. He can do no wrong. I was really enthusiastic about these 2 episodes. My only problem was that I almost forgot that we were going to be covering these 2 episodes because over the course of the last couple of weeks during the holidays, like we had so many different things popping up on various streaming platforms that my mind was just like I was trying to watch all these different things as they were coming out, and I almost completely forgot about Bad Batch until I turned on Disney Plus the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, Bad Batch is going to be coming out this week.
Bad Batch, yeah. I was going to say something. I forgot what I was going to say. No, I thought it was also interesting in a good move not to throw like characters like Crosshair in, and to get that, to kind of leave him, for later, bring him back for a later episode to kind of find out, where he's at and what's happened with him, and to kind of leave, other than just kind of mentioning it in passing, Hunter mentioning that they've been hiding from the Empire, they've been trying to keep low, and I think one thing that's kind of been a overall theme throughout any show that has taken place kind of in this basic timeline of before A New Hope, the kind of between the end of the Clone Wars to the beginning of A New Hope, is this idea of you can't hide from the Empire. The Empire is coming eventually, because what's her name says it when she's talking to the Batch, when it's like, hey, it's like, what she's saying, the money here could buy your freedom. And I love that line when Hunter says, "We are free." Like, that's cute that you think that.
Yeah,
but
the
Empire is coming here eventually.
Yeah. And that's just it. Is that they Hunter and the rest of his team? They're very narrow-sighted as far as the bigger picture. Like, they understand that the Empire is taking over, but they don't realize just how much it's taking over. And so when they say, "Yeah, we're already free," no, because you saw the shadow of the Empire hanging over you. Because pretty much every mission you're going to go on from this point out is going to be dealing with some incursion or some encounter with the Empire and their forces. What boggles my mind is the fact that, most of last season they were dealing with stormtroopers, people who were coming up to be, regulars in the new army. And this time they're dealing with other clone troopers.
Yes. Yeah, which I thought was, the fact, you can see that also the fact that they always use the stun beam. Anytime because they don't want to kill their brothers.
With the exception of Wrecker's, the
cannon,
that was like, that's another thing, because you were talking about Tech, getting a little bit more personality. We got a little bit more insight just in episode 2 about Wrecker. Like, Wrecker always comes off as this big dumb guy, and
I was thinking just that. Yeah,
he's not. He's a brute. He likes to smash things, but like, he's got a brain in there. He may not be thinking quantum mechanics or anything like that, like Tech is, and he may not be thinking encryption algorithms like Echo, or strategy like Hunter, but he's smart, he's capable, and the fact that he jerry-rigged a cannon out of a dead tank is mind-boggling. He he just starts walloping people, and he takes this tank that's something that it should be a vehicle mount, and he turns it into a portable heavy gun. I'm just like, what the heck?
I know, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, they all had to be, every one of them has to have some sort of, has to have some sort of intelligence,
Yeah.
to be considered, especially for special forces, which that's what they would have been considered with special forces.
Yeah, they were a special forces team. They were just given all the suicide missions because they're defective. But what's going to be interesting though is like looking at how things played out with season 1 and how things are playing out with season 2. I have a sneaky suspicion that when we get oh, you just said his name, not Crosshair. Hunter, the sniper, Crosshair. Once we get Crosshair back, once we get him back in the show, I feel like what's going to happen is he is going to be going head to head against Hunter. I think that's going to be like a personal fight for the two of them, because like Hunter is the one leading the team. And so he's going to be like the number one target for Crosshair. And for Hunter, this is like, this is his brother who betrayed him.
Yeah.
And not just because he was programmed to, but because he chose to. And so I think it's going to turn into something very, very personal between the two of them. At least that's my prediction. I could be completely wrong on that, but I think that would be a very interesting fight, because I think what's going to happen is Hunter is going to become the hunted, and eventually it's going to come to the point where Crosshair can't hide behind a scope, and they're going to have to go head to head.
Yeah,
they're going to have to face off against each other, and that's going to be the real test. Because while Crosshair is just a sniper, or typically he's a sniper, he's also got the same hand-to-hand combat training that Hunter does. He's not he's not the brute. He's not the thinker. He's not the spy. He's just as much of a fighter as Hunter.
Yeah. Now, do you suspect an eventual turn for Crosshair? Do you think we're going to get a redemption of Crosshair, that he will see, or do you think that's something that could be like a last thing, like I could see him like the entire series, because I don't know how many seasons they're planning on doing this, but I could see that being like an ending thing where he sacrifices himself to save his brothers, and that's kind of his redemption, where it's like a last minute thing that it builds.
I could see that maybe at the end of the series, but if we're going beyond season 2, I would say absolutely not, and here's why. I think it would be one, it would cheapen what's going on between the character dynamics. 2, it's a little cliche at this point. It would be better for them writing wise to turn into that skid, and just when you think there's hope, just when you think he's going to side with the Bad Batch again, he's going to just turn on him. And it's just going to twist that knife just a little bit more. And he's going to leave them a little bit more wounded, maybe even physically wounded, than he did the last time. Yeah. And for me as a writer, that's something I would really like to see, because like the best character arcs are the ones where the writer doesn't give the audience, or doesn't give the characters what they really want. The Bad Batch just wants to be left alone. They want to do their missions. They want to be able to survive. They want their brother back. But every mission that they go on is going to lead them closer and closer to that confrontation, and to give them Crosshair back would betray all the conflict that has been building.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm super excited for episode 3.
I am too. It's gonna be
can't
good.
wait to talk about it. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Well, let's wrap up here. So, Garrett, why don't you tell the people out there where they can find you at?
Well, you guys can find me at GKJ_publishing on Instagram and Twitter. I'm on there all the time, posting new content. A lot of what I post is about my YouTube channel, which is GKJ Publishing. I have a show there called The Right Way, where we talk book recommendations, author interviews, and writing tips. I'm doing a series right now in creative writing tips on world building. And so there are some Star Wars references. In fact, all last season I did a whole thing on the hero's journey, and specifically I used Star Wars as the go-to example for that. But in the meantime, I have a big announcement, if you don't mind, John. I am actually getting ready to release the 5th book in my fantasy series, The Archives of Isink Ran. It's going to be coming out on February 3rd, which is the 8th anniversary of the release of my first book, The Heirs of Menenias. So that'll go live on the 3rd, and it'll be available on paperback and Kindle for on Amazon. So I'm looking forward to having this out. The book is called The Mantle of the Fatherless.
All right. Mantle of the Fatherless. We'll be looking forward to that. All right. Yeah. As for us, of course, if you want to get a hold of us, warofthestars1@gmail.com is our email address. Oh, there we go. That is the best way to get. We're both trying to do it at the same time. If you want to go hold of us, that's
do it.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, Twitter, same handle @warofthestars1. Check us out there. Also, you can check out all the shows on the Red 5 Network, red5network.com, for all your all the check out all the shows that are on the Red 5 Network. Sorry, my brain just went blah blah blah. YouTube, we also have a YouTube channel. Remember, like and subscribe, and also check out me and my daughter's new podcast on YouTube, Star Wars Through the Eyes of a Child. We are going through the Star Wars Clone Wars in chronological order. The first episode will be up here shortly, probably tomorrow. Probably put out both episodes, both this episode and that episode, both tomorrow. Check it out. I know she'll mean a great deal to her to check that out. We'll be checking out the Clone Wars movie next with that. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/War of the Stars. And of course, our Spreadshirt shop, spreadshirt.com/shop/War of the Stars. And of course, you can check us out wherever fine podcasts are heard. If you want to listen to just the audio version, because I don't know why you want to look at these two handsome men here, but if you're on a commute and you just want to listen to us, you can find us wherever fine podcasts are heard. Just search War of the Stars and look for the War of the Stars symbol for our show there. That will do it for this week. So as always, remember, this isn't just my Star Wars. This isn't just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. Until next time, may the Force be with you.
This is the way.